being the officer. We're currently working to identify all of the victims, work with their families for reunification, and provide services to the families and the victims. The investigation, I want to reiterate, is ongoing. This will be a long scene. It will take pretty much into the night. So I still ask that the public avoid the area. I want to reiterate that there is no active threat. We believe this is a lone gunman involved in this that did have a connection to the bank. We're trying to establish what that connection was to the business, but it appears he was a previous employee. It is clear from the officer's response that they absolutely saved people's lives. This is a tragic event, but it was the heroic response of officers that made sure that no more people were more seriously injured than what happened. We will continue to provide updates as soon as possible. We will have another press briefing following this at 3 p.m. today. I will turn it over to Mayor Craig Greenberg at this time.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Humphrey. First, I ask that everyone around our city, around the country, around the world, pray with us for those who are currently at U of L Hospital, injured, fighting for their lives as a result of another act of gun violence. And I want to thank all of the first responders, the brave and heroic men and women of LMPD who, thanks to their efforts, quickly responded to the emergency call. And as you just heard from Deputy Chief Humphrey, without a doubt, their actions saved lives. There will be a lot more information we are able to provide as the day goes on. But I want everyone in this city to know that notwithstanding tragedies like today, when multiple people are killed by gun violence, notwithstanding tragedies when individuals are killed by gun violence, our community will continue to come together. We will find ways to love and support one another and the families and friends who have been directly impacted by these acts of gun violence. And we will come together as a community to work to prevent these horrific acts of gun violence from continuing here and around the state. I want to thank again everyone at LMPD, from the Louisville Fire Department, from EMS, from the state agencies and now federal agencies that are also involved. We are a safer community, we are a stronger community, thanks to the work of our law enforcement. And again, my prayers go out to the families who have lost loved ones today. My prayers go out to the officers who are at the hospital right now, and my thanks for all of them. Together, we will get through this together. Finally, I want to introduce Governor Beshear, who has joined us and who is assisting with the efforts. Governor?
I want to start by thanking the brave heroes in LMPD and our other responding organizations. LMPD made it to this scene in a matter of minutes after receiving the call, and there is no doubt in my mind that their efforts saved lives and they put their own on the line. And we have at least one officer in surgery right now that is there because he took those actions to try to protect the people of Louisville. I want to thank Louisville Fire, Louisville Metro EMS, and Emergency Management and the Louisville Sheriff's Office for the immediate response. They've now been joined by the FBI, ATF, Homeland Security, Kentucky State Police have requested in the Louisville Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods in this response. This is awful. I have a very close friend that didn't make it today. and I have another close friend who didn't either, and one who's at the hospital that I hope is going to make it through. So when we talk about praying, I hope people will. For those that we are hoping can make it through the surgeries that they're going through, and then we've got to do what we have done these last 3 years after everything. We've got to wrap our arms around these families. And to everybody who needs it, don't be afraid to get some help. Our bodies and our minds are not meant to go through these types of tragedies. And so I hope that all the brave officers that stepped into the line of fire, that are worried about one of their fellow officers, will reach out for help when they need it. I hope every one of those bank employees and folks in that building, one that I know well, and my AG campaign was out of that building. I know virtually everyone in it. That's my bank. I hope that they will all reach out and get the help that they need. There are a lot of people that are hurting today. And if we have a place to focus our energy, I hope it is to surround them with the love and the compassion that we have been so good at showing one another. I want people to know that while today is a horrific act, I do believe that this is a safe community with officers doing their very best each and every day, and that's what we saw here. Yes, I know that there are steps that the police department is taking to do things better after a recent report, but we certainly saw, I think, the very best from them today, and I want to thank them and all our other law enforcement officers for responding and doing their best to try to save some of my friends and many others. Thank you all.
Any questions? The other one, it appears to be non-critical injuries at this time. I'm not sure on the status of that yet. That'd be part of the investigation. Excuse me? It appears the shooter was, I don't know if it was an active employee or a former employee, but the shooter did have a connection to the location. No. Don't know that. He asked, was there any form of security at the bank? We don't know that either. That'll be part of the investigation. So one more. We have resources available to make sure the rest of the city is kept safe, and I do want to reiterate that. We are managing our resources with the state, local, and federal partners to make sure that all services to the city maintain while we are maintaining this scene at the same time. So thank you. The next update will be at 3 o'clock. Thank you. Let's go.
And for those of us just joining us, we're going to recap what we just learned out of that news conference. A tearful Governor Andy Beshear recounting some of the details that he personally lost friends in this mass shooting out of Louisville, Kentucky. Here's what we know. According to police, at least 5 victims. We do not know if the shooter is being included among those, but we know that the shooter is deceased. Police believe that the shooter is an ex or current employee of the bank where this took place. There are 8 surviving victims who are being treated, 2 of them critical, one of those critical, a police officer.
And you could hear the emotional weight in Governor Beshear's voice when he mentioned that he had a connection to this mass casualty event. A friend of his that was perhaps a patron of this bank. You could hear his voice breaking as he described the events that took place earlier this morning in Louisville, Kentucky. And you just heard police officials there saying that there will be another update from them at about 3 p.m. Eastern. So we'll obviously have that right here for you at CBS News. We'll continue to follow the latest developments out of Louisville, and we'll look to that press conference at 3 p.m., which we will, of course, bring to you live.
Hey there, welcome to The Uplift.
I thought she was a groom, and I stepped back and I went, oh, you're the queen. She's going to be with me every instant that I'm alive.
I just wanted to see if you'd go to Disneyland with me today.
I look over at him and he's smiling.
I'm going to remember that the rest of my life.
They told us when he was going to be born, he was only going to live for 30 minutes. It's really a miracle that he's with us today.
The Uplift. Stream now on the free CBS News app.
When you wake up in the morning, we want to be your go-to team.
On our places, bright, shiny faces.
I don't go to work in the morning. I go for coffee with my two good friends, and we talk about the world.
Your morning routine just got better. CBS Mornings.
An original documentary from CBS reports.
I always tell people that Twitter would not be Twitter without Black Twitter.
It's just us being in fellowship with each other.
And it becomes a conversation you don't want to be left out of.
People really started to recognize the power of activism on Twitter.
Based on that one tweet, the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite was trending around the world.
If anything has really powered Black Twitter, it's been humor.
If your food ain't right, oh, we're gonna tell you about that too.
We tend to create change, create culture and cool.
That's how movements happen on Black Twitter and go beyond more than that.
Black Twitter, the Twitterverse that changed a generation. Now streaming on the free CBS News app.
You ready?
A generation of kids opens up on CBS Reports.
I just want to be like a regular kid.
Their world, their struggles, their voices.
What if I was white?
A lot of people like to call names and make you feel ashamed for being proud of who you are.
Now streaming Gender.
I did not realize that you could change your gender.
Realizing how you feel.
You can be a boy, sometimes you feel like a girl, sometimes you feel like both.
Redefining who you are.
Identify as trans.
Gender fluid.
Non-binary and queer.
Is the idea of gender a thing of the past?
And to be yourself, always, no matter what anyone says, I love you.
Are the kids all right? Gender. Now streaming on the free CBS News app.
Stories that inform.
Or you can be really old at 60, and you can be really young at 85.
Inspire.
How do we unlock the power within ourselves to be who we want to be?
And brighten your day.
The best part of fame is making people feel good. Always send the people home happy.
Make every day a little more like Sunday morning.
Here comes the sun.
Stream now on the free CBS News app.
The news doesn't have to always be depressing.
What do you love about running? Energy!
It can be uplifting. That human connection that we create on the broadcast every night is incredibly important.
Future access to an abortion pill is in limbo this morning. Protests erupted across the country this weekend after a federal judge in Texas suspended the FDA approval of a commonly used abortion pill. But then another federal judge in Washington state ruled that the pills could not be restricted in more than a dozen states. Nancy Cordes is following all of this for us this morning. Nancy, good to see you.
For now, many prescribers say they are going to continue to dispense mifepristone, and patients in states that restrict abortion can still get the drugs from abroad. Even if ultimately this drug is blocked, it could take years before they are off the shelf.